Extremist movie debate. And this morning we're talking 2017's Star Wars, The Last Jedi.
Episode 8. I am Joe.
Then one of us is going to love it, one of us is going to hate it.
Weirdly, there's no episode 8.
I hate it.
I love it. Hey guys, just so you know, we're going to try to, since like even fans of this franchise have not been able to see this movie, so we were going to do our best to make this spoiler free. Like Jeff has not seen it yet.
Or Sam.
If we fail, we'll do a big disclaimer.
And yeah, exactly. So if we...
But
if
Jeff
you're watching this,
seen it.
if you're watching this and you saw on the message saying big spoiler, disregard everything we're saying right now.
Okay.
God,
and yeah, weirdly, like this one doesn't. It's not called Episode 8. It's just Star Wars.
But it is Episode 8.
I mean, it is in the crawl.
It is, but
it's Episode 8, Jeff.
All of the shit online about it is not.
Oh, so everything online is just the truth now?
Yeah.
Fuck,
I mean,
dude.
you can't put stuff online if it's not true. Anyway, Ethan, since you hate this movie, this first question comes to you. This comes from Peter Rainier of the Christian Science Monitor. Old Petey says, fanatics will love it. For the rest of us, it's a tolerable good time. So, you know, how is it a disservice that this film only caters kind of towards diehard fans? You have 1 minute.
It doesn't cater toward diehard fans. You have characters that go completely off the rails. Even Mark Hamill has said to Rian Johnson, I completely disagree with everything that you've done with this character, but I'm going to do my best to portray it because I'm an actor. So this movie does every bit that it can to go against the 30 years that it's created as a franchise, and that is going to piss off a lot of fans. On top of that, I'm going to go ahead and say that fans can be pissed off, but the story itself gurgles butthole. You have an 18-hour chase scene that happens in seemingly real time. There's so many reasons why that could have ended. I don't understand why one side of that battle was not a little bit more equipped to jump ahead or send in things from other sides. However, that goes on for the entire movie. Cool.
Okay, thanks, Ethan. Joe, you have 30 seconds to respond.
So I think Ethan, basically, like the 30 years that he's talking about is like this platonic idea of good and evil, and it's the Augustine's idea of all good or all evil, and you have these two philosophies, and then this new one is this Taoist view of the world. It's a more realistic view. That's kind of more how our world like works, and that's why you see all this yin-yang symbolism within this movie, is because it's changing the philosophies of the story. And just because Ethan likes to view the world as black and white.
All right, thanks, Joe. Ethan, you have 15 seconds to retort.
I think the movies have always done that. I think that's why you had Yoda as a curmudgeon-y old hermit in The Empire Strikes Back instead of this wonderful, wise old sage that he was in the prequels. Because you show that bad things can happen, and then all of a sudden, characters can change. And that is well established in these movies.
Thanks, Ethan. Joe, you have a final 15.
Yoda has always been all good. Just because he was a curmudgeonly old man doesn't make him any less good. But Kylo Ren has good and bad inside of him. Same with Rey. That's what the Taoist viewpoint of this movie is.
Same with Vader.
Stop interrupting, Ethan. All right, Joe, this next question is for you. This comes from Chris Barsanti of the playlist. Well, Chrissy B says, there are more genuine laughs and emotional resonance here than any of the movies have managed since Empire. But despite it, but does it even have a fraction of the weird cross-genre spark that animated the original trilogy? Not at all. So, seemingly he's, upset that this one is not, like, comedy mixed with space western. Like, how do you feel this movie does just specifically as a single kind of tonal movie? Like this guy thinks it is. You have 1 minute.
So I think the guy is wrong. So I think there are elements of the Western. It's funny. There are funny. The movie opens up with like big laughs with Poe flying through, and he's giving General Hux the business, and Hux is just like he's getting fucked with. And like that's what's funny about it is like Poe is like nailing it, and you think like at first you're just like, oh, like they're just going for the last, but it's like it actually adds up to something. Like Poe is stalling this general so he can blast all these guns, and on top of that, there's a moment towards the end where it's kind of one against all, and it's this guy walking out into this like almost desert plain, and it's got this very like like
Stranger
definite
in a
feel,
Strange Land.
very definite feel of a Western with like Man with No Name kind of feel to it. So I think that it is jumping genres, and it is, I think, successfully jumping those genres and mixing in different elements.
Okay, thanks. Ethan, you have 30 seconds to respond.
No, it definitely feels like a Western movie or a samurai movie. There are elements of all of that in this. What it doesn't feel like is a fucking
Period.
Star Wars movie because, yeah, there are jokes. There were jokes, you know, everybody laughed at the J.J. Abrams humor in the other one. But in this one, like, he's milking a lactating Cubert, and now we know where blue milk comes from. Awesome. That's great, except that then the character, that scene, you're learning big revelations about certain characters that everybody should be upset about, that everybody should have more questions about, and instead we're just left with gags.
Thanks, Ethan. Joe, you have 15 seconds to respond.
I mean, you're still learning those things about these characters. This is when Rey and Luke are on the island. I mean, I don't think that's a spoiler because you see that at the end of the first one. So you see that, and you see right at the beginning where Luke is essentially throwing out everything that has happened before. So it's this whole new idea.
All right, Joe, you're done. Ethan, you have a final 15.
Yeah, so it continues to have big laughs. I mean, even in the very beginning, after this Poe thing you're talking about, we see Finn walking around just gushing water and stuff, and it's supposed to be funny. But again, these are moments like everybody watches Empire. You know, you understand
All
that.
right,
Shit. Let's keep talking.
Yeah.
No,
we're gonna-
I want to talk about something else.
Did you see Space Jam?
Space Jam's all right.
Yeah, let's talk.
That's a real space movie.
We debated Space Jam, compared it to Selma. It was kind of offensive. You guys have 4 minutes to respond.
What's wrong with
Well,
us?
to debate. Oh, there are a lot.
But I think the humor, like you're trying to like,
I'm saying that
you're
this
trying
movie.
you're trying to use the humor as this example about how tonally they got it wrong because they're not giving like weight to the serious aspects of this movie. Whereas I think it actually, with the humor, it just goes in with that Taoist theory to where human life in reality is not always really heavy and not always very poignant. And there's humor.
But when the humor
everywhere
is
we go. It's
cartoony,
everywhere we
when
go.
the humor is
It's not
BB-8
cartoony.
shooting coins like a machine gun, when the humor is Mark Hamill got to be a
that's something
CG
you
character
do.
and got to wander around fucking the prequels again, that was cool. So yeah, he was the stupid little guy on the casino planet. That was Mark Hamill. Just because Mark Hamill said, I want to play a CG character.
Oh, what?
You know that stupid little bearded guy that puts coins into BB-8?
Oh, that's Mark
That's
Hamill?
Mark Hamill.
That's awesome.
That's why that's in the movie.
But that's just a
so
fucking
what I'm
wig.
saying
That's
is
just a fucking
most of the
wig.
jokes
And
in
on
this
top of
movie
that,
are fucking cartoons.
No, it's not. Because
They
on top
are
of that,
unwarranted. They
is
aren't for
no.
levity. They're because nobody said no. This
No,
is
dude.
fucking George
But
Lucas
that's
all
the thing.
over again.
No, they are getting the laughs. The laughs are
They are
successful.
getting the laughs.
And George Lucas, when you talk about George Lucas doesn't have an ounce of humor in his body. He's just an old sack of crap
As
that loves
everybody
CGI.
else, I saw this in a sold-out
are you
theater,
talking
and
about?
there were cringes. People were
Cringes?
gasping.
You didn't even watch
Nobody
opening
was
night.
laughing.
Well, I'm a
I saw
fan.
Friday night.
I'm a fan,
Fuck
so
off.
I saw opening night, Thursday night at 6 p.m. before anybody else did. And guess what? Everybody was fucking laughing their asses
Oh,
off.
I'm Joe.
Because
I'm
it's
so
funny.
cool because I got to go into an earlier
And
show.
it's funny because
therefore, my
they're
opinion matters
they're
more than
using-
everybody
they're
else's.
They're using that humor to, again, showcase that's the reality of the world that we live in. It's making a deeper connection to the life that we lead because it's like breeding that humor in there, and because it's putting in that good and evil within every single character. It's putting all of that in there. It's creating this more
I
realistic
think that this
universe.
movie warrants a lot more despair and a lot more darkness. The story should, the point in
There's
the
a
trilogy
lot- there's a
should,
lot of
the elements
darkness
of the
and
story
despair
should, but
in
there
the
aren't.
movie.
There aren't
What are you
actually.
talking- yeah, there are.
There are a couple fight scenes,
I wish-
but
I
there
wish
is
we
no
could
darkness
talk-
and despair
I
beyond.
wish we could
I
talk
don't
about how
like
it
the
ends.
world anymore.
Because it ends. Oh, he doesn't like the world anymore because the one person,
Which we already saw.
the one deed that he thought he could achieve, he failed at, and
Yeah.
he failed himself in the process.
Right, that's a really dark, sad thing. And
Oh,
instead, all we see is,
it's almost like
I'm
the
just
guy
gonna
would
go.
want to. It's almost like he would want to go maroon himself on an island and not talk to anybody. It's almost like
Why does he
would
maroon
try to
himself on that island? Yoda went to fucking swamp on Dagobah in the middle of nowhere. Why didn't Luke go hang
So
out
did
with
he.
Ewoks in a log cabin on Endor or something? Why does he have to go
There's
to the
no
last Jedi
difference.
temple for no purpose?
What do you mean
why,
Jedi temple?
Why does it matter that he goes to the
wasn't a Jedi,
first
it
Jedi
wasn't
temple?
a Jedi temple. He took it with
It
him.
was a Jedi temple.
He took that tree with him.
No. In the
Yes,
first
yes, yes,
movie,
yes.
it is established that that is the first Jedi temple. That tree was already there. He says that the first Jedi built this all with him. And if you're saying he built it there, then essentially he built a tree fort on an island. Cool. Again,
Well,
a goddamn cartoon.
even then-
but he didn't because he
Even
said
then,
that the Jedi built
Ethan,
everything.
Ethan, if it was the first Jedi temple, people still
was.
don't know. Okay, so it's the first Jedi temple. People still don't know about it.
Which doesn't make sense.
He is still no. It does because even in the old movies, even in A New Hope, people didn't believe that Jedi were a thing. This is 40 years past that.
Okay,
No one
all
would
right,
believe
all right.
it exists.
Okay.
It's a goddamn myth, Ethan. So of course he would go there because he's still trying to get back to his roots because he still has that hope within him. He has an old hope inside of him, but he feels too broken to act upon it. That's why he went to this island, and that's why you can see the darkness and the light working within Luke still.
All right. Well, what do you guys really feel about the movie?
This movie chugs butt.
No, I like this movie a lot. Ethan is completely wrong.
Yeah,
about it.
it's weird. I looked up the reviews and like the ratings and stuff, and it has a 93% right now, but it has like a 56 from fans. So
Someone was like, Disney has a lot of money, right? It's weird.
Yeah,
I mean,
Disney paid off all the critics.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't
Disney,
think
the
they
place that refused to like, I don't know, let a specific newspaper like review their movie.
No, I think that rating comes from a lot of really angry fans because they don't like what they did with some of the characters, which I get. That's pretty good. That's a good drawing, Jeff.
I was about to ask about that.
I think that's just a reaction from people that got all butthurt about the movie, which
Yeah, this guy.
I'm not butthurt about
What are you
what they did with
talking
the
about? You just said it
characters.
chugged butts. Go fuck yourself.
It did, and that was
did
because the tone is a horrible mess because the
I
comedy
don't think the
comes
tone
as
is
cartoonish
at all. I don't
in
think-
moments that should
See,
be
I don't
really
think
dark and
I don't think it
depressing.
came out as
The
cartoonish
story
at all.
Joe,
is stupid.
let Ethan say like his feelings.
Nothing amounts
shut
to
up, Jeff.
anything. Like
Stop looking at me.
any speculation that the first one built up, any sort of possible arcs that the first one built up are disintegrated in this movie. You hope that they're going to come back in the next one because what a goddamn letdown. Because nobody cares enough. I'm sorry, they haven't quite gotten there. Nobody cares enough about the new characters to just destroy all of those possibilities. And even some of the new characters that they introduced, they still destroy the possibilities of. And so it's frustrating in that sense, but also, why the fuck are we watching this chase scene that should have ended way in the beginning? Why are they just like a cat just toying with a dead mouse for like 8 hours?
Partly, but also they're out of range of everything. I think.
But why don't they just go
the TIE
boop
fight
and skip ahead? They're not out of fuel. Why don't they have other people come in from other directions?
Because what would be the point? They can follow them, so why would they waste their resources?
Maybe
to
they
do
have
that?
better shit to do for 18 hours.
I don't think they do.
Yeah.
Like squashing the rebellion, I think is on the top of their list.
Okay, so why not speed it up a little bit? And then why do
that would be
why do
that
Finn
would
and
be
Rose
that would be
go do
wasting
this
the
other storyline
resources.
that ultimately amounts to absolutely nothing except the ending scene, which is just pandering to children. Disney saying, "Hey kids, look at all the shit that we can do."
That's not true.
That's all that arc is
No,
good for.
because
So we have
that's
essentially a
that's
half hour of
showcasing-
this movie
like
going to a
Anakin,
very
just like
prequels
Anakin,
planet.
Just like Anakin in the prequels, he came from nothing. So it's essentially showing kids that like you don't have to
Okay.
come from royalty.
I get
and
that.
You don't have to be a legacy to embody like great power. You can make a difference and you can make a change without
Totally.
coming from something like this.
And you
keep
do
agreeing
not
with
need
me.
that storyline
You
in
do.
order
I
to
mean, that's the
establish
thing.
that this kid can move a broom.
That's what the whole movie revolves around that idea. So I don't know what you're complaining about.
The whole movie, half of this movie, revolves around freeing some space camels or horses or whatever the fuck they are, and ultimately
just
it's
because
to
you-
get to a code breaker to stop this other thing from happening, and then
Justin Theroux?
it doesn't. Justin Theroux.
Justin Theroux is the original code breaker that they did not get to. Yeah, there it is.
I was wondering why it lingered on him so much. I started playing the Find the Ryan Johnson cast game in that scene. I think
Yeah,
I'm
did you
pretty
ever-
sure I
did you
saw
find-
Dode in the first scene.
The Dode was in the first scene. I saw
He
him.
was in the base, right? He just
He
drove
was on,
past
he
like
was
a
on,
goober.
he was on
Yeah.
the truck. I could not find.
I couldn't find
Go-
Laura
I
anywhere.
couldn't find Levitt either.
But like you're just expecting it, right?
well,
And that's the
he's in-
problem is
they're in
the
there
scene is so goddamn boring that
No,
you
see, I
are
don't think so, because-
completely ignoring everything that's going on with this entire
But I
storyline,
well, I
and you're
think-
looking for Ryan Johnson's friends.
No, because I think that scene especially again showcases the turn in like the philosophy of this movie and what they're doing with this new trilogy and how it's not just a black and white good versus evil.
Right. I love that they started talking about the military-industrial complex. I thought that
You
was
didn't-
really
you didn't
cool in
yell
a
at
movie
Ethan
where
when you
half of it is
interrupted
called
me.
war. We're having a conversation here.
No, Jeff yelled at me when I was trying to have a conversation.
I'm agreeing with you. I think that is a great
Well, the-
element to
the
bring into
difference
this
is
movie.
I did think
Ethan
it was
would-
fun. Jeff, shut the fuck up. We're
Here,
talking.
let
Jeff,
me tell you why I
Jeff, be
interrupted you
quiet.
for a second.
No, so
Ethan was
I
trying to
thought-
say what
Jeff,
he felt.
I'm trying to talk, dude. So
Ethan was trying to say what he felt.
I liked that they made Benicio del Toro just a libertarian, and
I like that they just made him Lando Calrissian. Here's this shady gambler who's gonna maybe fuck us over. Cool, here he is. Except in this movie,
Spoiler, he
it
doesn't.
doesn't matter.
nothing matters.
Nothing matters in
But I
this
think
movie.
that's also kind of the point of it.
Okay, great.
Nothing
I don't want
matters.
2.5 hours of that then. 2.5 hours of disappointing
without
nothing
light,
matters.
You will not have dark. Without good, you will not have evil. That's kind of what it's a constant state of balance and flux.
Okay, great. Let's show let's
give
show
this
all
movie
of the good people get
9 out of
crushed under
10.
the darkness.
Okay,
then.
hold on.
And
Here.
instead, you just have a lot of people confused, going nowhere.
Okay, we're gonna too long didn't read version of this. Ethan, you have 30 seconds to compartmentalize or boil down what
He already
what you're
did. He
talking
says
about.
nothing happens, and I'm a sad old man.
Yeah, I'm cool. It's fine.
Okay, Joe, then you do it because
We'll
you
talk
didn't really
more.
Oh,
get
I already, no,
Spoiler
it's all right. I
territory.
already did.
to- Okay,
I'm good. I give this movie a 9 out of 10 and a lot of thunder. I like this movie a lot.
hold on, let me do my job. What would you guys rate the movie?
I would give this movie a 9 out of 10 with a lot of thunder. I thought
give
this
it
movie was great.
a 5 out of 10 with no thunder at all. There are definitely moments that are awesome. They're beautiful, gorgeous cinematography in many places. An absolutely fantastic fight scene halfway through or 2/3 of the way through, whatever. That's about it.
Okay, so
I think that in time, lots of people are going to say that this movie sucks.
I don't think that's true.
I think everyone's going to get over the hype. It's going to die.
What, like The Force Awakens?
Go ahead. Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah, but The Force
Except that The
Awakens
Force
is just a
Awakens is
rehab.
fun.
At least this movie
It
does
is.
something new. It's not that fun. I rewatched it
Great.
right
This movie's
before
going to
this
do
movie.
worse then.
I don't think so, man. I think this movie's going to be better
Butter?
in the long
Better,
in the
okay.
long term.
It's a bet.
All right.
Son here first. I'm about to tell Ethan's son that I'm a failure.
We're making a bet for 30 years from now.
This is a legal binding contract. It's a handshake on film. Where can the viewers find us?
You can find us on Gmail.
Instagram.
Extremist movie debate.pantspending.com, emd.pantspending.com,
Yeah.
artificialwood.pantspending.com,
Twitter.
You can find us on Google Plus.
Snapchat.
Well, we don't have one of those.
I'll make one. MySpace.
I don't know what the deal with Patreon is now. Apparently, they were going to start charging people, and then they went back on that, maybe, or they're rolling it out slower. I don't know if we're ever going to get a Patreon.
Etsy.
We
We don't have an Etsy.
Tinder.
We don't. No, we don't have a Tinder.
Pinterest.
No, we don't have that either.
Grinder.
No.
ChristianMingle.com.
Tumblr.
No.
Tumblr.
FarmersOnly.com.
Well, actually, we might have a Tumblr. It might be buried in there.
What?
Yeah.
Zanga.com.
No, we don't have that.
LiveJournal.
Find us at ParamountPictures.com.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, viewers. Have a good day.